this week's live stream, we upgrade our Minecraft tower defense game with arrow combat. But how do we tame our unruly clones? Plus, the long-awaited reveal of our Minecraft TD game trailer. Connor annoys everyone with customized Rickrolls in Scratch. Ben goes back in time to dust off the OG PlayStation console. And Thane transforms into a pig in our newest Minecraft mod review. All this and more coming right up. Good morning, everyone. It's Mr. T back with the Chromeworks live stream for June 5th, 2021. Welcome, everybody. Nice to be back. So we've got, as you saw in our new intro, I just thought I'd play around with kind of a more TV show-like intro this week. We got a whole lot on tap for today, so stick around and we'll do some fun coding and look at some other interesting technology stuff as well, coming from me and from my trusty co-op students and my other students who are always happy to produce stuff for me. So we're into week 4 of our Minecraft tower defense. The videos are doing quite well. We're up over 200 views on our tutorial video part 1. The game itself isn't getting much love, though, I have to say. We only have, where are we here? Only have 36 views on this game, which I think is a fantastic new Scratch game produced by my son Jeffrey, Cool Cow 111111191s, I think. Anyway, so try it out if you haven't played Minecraft Tower Defense yet. There is a link over in the description down below, and you can get to this game. Please share the love a little bit. We'd like more people playing this fantastic new Minecraft-themed game where you're digging and gathering resources and building defenses so that you can defeat the oncoming mobs. This week, well, let me stop the sound here. This week we actually got our arrows running, and so we did a lot of work on the physics of arrows. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about the complexities of doing collision detection when you've got a whole bunch of different things flying around, all colliding with clones. And when you've got a whole bunch of clones in one place and one arrow hits 3 or 4 zombies, you don't want all the zombies killed at once. So what do you do about that? Jeffrey came up with a really cool idea for how to manage this stuff. And so I put together a little tutorial video for you guys that will help to explain a really cool list-based system for keeping track of your clones. So I'm going to show that to you in just a second. I do have a tutorial file to go with this, though, so if you guys can have a look in the description here. Hi there, funny animator Jim was with us for the first time in quite a while here. Good morning, Jim. Anyway, I'm going to send you guys a link to this tutorial file here, which is called Complex Collisions. And it's just a little example of the kind of coding we did in Minecraft Tower Defense that we did in our tutorial this week. So I'm pasting it into the chat in YouTube and in Discord here, and please follow along as I give you a little lesson on this. So here we go. So one of the interesting coding challenges we had with Minecraft Tower Defense was a problem with clones and how they stack up with each other. This week we enabled our Steves to fire arrows at their enemies, which is pretty easy when there's one clone to shoot at and one arrow to shoot it. But the game gets very complicated very quickly because you can add additional Steves who shoot multiple arrows at your enemies. And you've got zombies over here that kind of stack up with each other because they're all moving on the same plane. They end up occupying the same space. And so if you shoot them with an arrow, which one of them is the one that ends up colliding with the arrow and getting killed? you don't want all of them getting killed all at once. And so we had to come up with an unusual workaround to solve this problem that involved list variables. And that's what I wanted to teach you about today. So to illustrate some of the problems that happen when clones collide like this, I've put together a little tutorial file. It's called Complex Collisions, and you can find the link to it in the file description down below. And when I click the green flag, you can see that we have some familiar characters, the crewmen from Among Us. I've created 12 of them here. They're all clones. They start in the middle at 0, 0, and then they spread out to the edge of the screen so you can see how many there are. And once they get to the edge, they come right back to the middle again, and they all pile up back at 0, 0. So they're all overlapping each other. So I have a couple of laser beams that appeared here, and when I click on them, they're going to fire beams at our characters. The beam on the left here is set up the traditional way, where I've got a clone of a laser beam created when I clicked on this, and it's going to move across the screen until it collides with an imposter, and then the imposter should detect that it's collided with a laser, and these guys should both delete themselves. But when I click on the guy and create a beam here, it doesn't actually delete itself. You can see that as many times as I fire, the imposter, or sorry, not the imposter, the crewman is not injured by the bullet here. What's going on? Let's go have a look at the code here. So here's my code for the left laser beam. If it's touching a crewman, it's in a loop here where it's forever checking to see if it's touching, if the beam is touching a crewman. And if it does, we want it to delete itself. We don't want it to go through the crewman and keep traveling across the screen. So we're telling it to delete itself. Meanwhile, the crewman over here is in a loop where it's telling itself if it's touching a laser beam, it deletes itself. So it should die when it touches a laser. The problem is that in Scratch, two things never actually happen simultaneously. Everything that goes on in Scratch all happens in a precise order, and it's usually whatever is moving on the screen, like this laser beam, for example, is the last thing that's been activated here. So it's going to look at the code for whatever's moving first, and it's going to see I'm touching a crewman. So in that moment when it's touching the crewman, it's going to delete itself. And then before it comes around this loop again, Scratch is going to check other sprites to see if they're doing anything as well. It's going to go over to the crewman here and see that, check whether it's touching a laser beam, but it's not touching a laser beam because the beam has already been deleted. Now we can kind of fix this in sort of a half way by telling the beam to not delete itself until a little bit later. So we can force it to wait till the next frame of animation to delete itself by putting a tiny little wait in here. We could go 0.01 seconds, or in practice you can even go 0 seconds here. Now this isn't really going to completely solve our problem, but it will help. Let me show you again. We're going to click on the green flag, have our guys disperse, and come back to the beginning. And now when I fire the laser, unpredictable stuff happens. But basically, because I've delayed it, the clones, or at least most of them, have a chance to delete themselves. And in fact, it takes 2 shots here to delete all of them. So the problem that we have now is that all our crewmen are touching the laser beam, and all of them delete themselves, except for that first guy, or that last guy who didn't. And that is just one of the weird things that happens when we have clones interacting with each other. Things are sometimes unpredictable. So the workaround that we came up here that will allow our cloned crewmen to get shot one at a time uses list variables. Now you guys will remember list variables are a special kind of variable. Normal variables, like this one here called fruit, we can feed information into it by setting the variable to something. So if I want to change this from apple to orange, for example, I can set fruit to orange, and that will change the value of that variable. Now list variables are a little bit different because they can contain multiple pieces of information. So if I have a list here called fruit, I can use one of these commands called add to the fruit list, and I can click on it. and now I have Apple on the list. But now I can change the text in here, and instead of replacing it, I'm actually adding another entry to the list. So I'm going to click on this, and now I have an orange as well as an apple on my list, and I could keep going with like banana, for example. And so this is something that's called an array variable when we're doing text coding, and that just means a variable that can hold multiple pieces of information instead of just one piece of information. So we're going to use these list variables to keep track of where the laser beam is when at the moment that it hits the crewman. We basically have two lists here. One's called beam hits X, one's called beam hits Y. There's only going to be one item on this list. Now, when we do this in Minecraft TD, we're going to have multiple items on the similar list that we create here, because there's going to be multiple arrows hitting multiple zombies. And this code is robust enough that you can have all kinds of stuff happening all over the screen and still be doing collision detection of it. But in this case, we're just going to have one item. I'm trying to keep this simple for this tutorial. So we're going to have a list here that keeps track of the X coordinates of the beam at the moment that it hits the crewman, and the Y coordinate of him at the moment that he hits the crewman. So we're going to go back to the collision code here. So when the beam starts at the clone, it's going to move across the screen. It's moving left instead of right here, so it's moving at a speed of -10. And if it's touching a crewman, at that moment where it's touching the crewman, it's going to take its X position and store it on this list here. So let me just simulate that. I'm just going to remove this code here so it's not actually going to process it. And so when I click the green flag here, and then fire my laser, see, it's storing the XY coordinate of the beam. It's deleted the beam, but it saved its location at the moment that it touched these clones. So now we can use this number and have each clone compare itself to that XY coordinate and see if it's close enough to the spot where that laser beam was that it would be considered to be colliding. So instead of using touching as if touching, the sensing variable, we're basically going to be looking at the distance between the laser beam location and my sprite. We're going to do that with a little bit of math. So let's go over to the crewman now, and we're going to add a new custom block here called check for beam collision. So instead of saying if touching right beam, we're just going to run this script here called check for beam collision. Inside here, you can see that, let me shrink this a little bit so you can see a little bit more of it. So inside of this check, which is still inside the forever loop, it's going to run every frame. Every one of the clones is going to take a turn running this code, which is going to see if it's colliding. The way that Scratch works is when we have clones and something happens under when I start the clone, every single clone will run all of this script every time. So let's say it was clone 1 is the first one that checks for collision here. What it's going to do here is set a temp variable to 0. And that's just going to keep track of whether that particular clone is dead. So we're looking at clone 1 right now. It's running this script. We're setting this temp variable to 0. Now, if there's anything at all on this XY list, if there's been a hit, then it's going to run this code, basically. So it's going to run it for the first guy, but one of the things it's going to do, if it does successfully kill the first guy, is it's going to delete that XY coordinate from the list, so that then when the second clone reads this this if statement, the length of beam hits X is going to be 0 because there's going to be nothing left on the list. So every other clone after that is going to ignore this as long as the first clone gets killed. So will the first clone get killed or not? This if statement is what determines that, right? So what we're doing is we're looking at the position of the laser beam and we're looking at the position of the clone. So the clone's X position, let's say the clone's X position is 10, just for the sake of argument here. and the beam hit at 5, at an x coordinate of 5. So 10 minus the number 5 would give us 5, which means that it's less than 40, so it's close enough to the beam that it considers it to be touching, and that means that we've hit. If it's a negative number, if we're at position 0 like the crewman is, and the beam hits at -10 or something like that, for example, the number you get is -10, but we're taking the absolute value of that number, which is the number with the negative symbol stripped off of it. So this code looks complicated, but really what it's saying is, if I'm less than 40 pixels away from the spot where that laser beam struck a clone, then I have successfully been killed. And that means delete the XY of the laser off of the list so that it can't kill the next guy. We're also going to set that temp variable that was set to 0 at the beginning here, we're going to set it to dead. And that means that when this script is done, it's going to return back to here again, and it's going to run this die script. So the die script just basically works if that temp variable is equal to dead, and it's only running for that first clone, right? Because that's the only guy whose temp variable is going to equal dead. Everyone else is going to go through this code, and their temp is going to be set back to 0. So that one guy's going to know he's dead, and he's going to run this code that's going to make him fade away and spin a little bit. So that all sounded really complicated, but it's not actually that complex when you look at it. What we're really saying is every clone one at a time is going to be looking at its position compared to that list, seeing whether it's close. If the first one is close enough, it's going to remove that item from the list so that the second one can't be close to it because there's no number on the list anymore. And so all the rest of the clones will ignore this, and only the one will get killed. Let's try running that code now, and we'll see what happens here. So our clones all get separated. They come back together again. And you'll see that when I shoot once, one of them gets killed. I'll actually have to shoot 12 times before all these guys are dead. Every single clone gets killed individually with this code written the way this is. So really lovely. I'm going to show you one more thing here just to show you that it's actually working. It's not picking these dead clones at random. It's always checking to see the distance away. What I'm going to do is go back to my crewmen, and when they get spawned here, and they, where is that? Over the top here, they're going out to the edge and then back to the middle. I'm going to make them move a random amount when they come back, so that they're kind of distributed randomly across the screen now. Well, not totally random, but random enough. So now they're in different spots across the screen, and I can only hit, so they're not necessarily overlapping with each other, right? When I hit one of these guys, he's gonna drop dead. When I hit the next guy, he's gonna die. When I hit this guy, he's gonna die. But if they're overlapping each other, I'm gonna take 3 of these guys and place them in the same spot. Then our code's gonna work properly again and only kill one of them. So you can see that it's always working based off of that distance away from the spot where the laser beam was. And so that's pretty much all there is to it. If you want to see a more complex example of this script in action, you can check out part 4 of our Minecraft tower defense tutorial, where we take this idea and expand on it so that we can have giant hordes of zombies and creepers and endermen all getting attacked by giant hordes of arrows, and still keep track of who's getting hit by what and have only one person hit by each thing. So it's quite an elegant bit of code. Kudos again to my son Jeffrey, the coding guru, who did a fantastic job coding this algorithm that really elegantly gets around a big problem that Scratch has with clones. So back to you, Mr. Tomek. Thank you, Mr. Tomek. So, yeah, I actually found that a really interesting little thing. I learned a lot about clones this week by looking at this project and discussing it with Jeffrey. I was just talking to funny animator Jim on the YouTube chat here, and he's quite an experienced coder as well. And he had the impression that all the clones were actually processing all of their stuff all simultaneously. And what I was saying to him is that nothing in Scratch actually happens simultaneously. Everything gets processed one sprite at a time. And even with clones, the first clone will go through all its code, and then the next, and then the next. And so once you get into really advanced cloning and coding complex games, you start to realize that the code precedence, what happens first, is really important in laying things out properly and having things happen as you expect. So you have to code things very, very carefully, especially when there are things colliding and deleting each other, to make sure that something that's important to one function doesn't accidentally delete itself before it needs to run, or that something doesn't happen in the right order anyway. So it's an advanced coding concept that hopefully all the rest of you guys can see. I'm going to say hello to my all my fans here on YouTube and Discord in a minute, but first I wanted to unveil for you with great excitement the trailer for our Minecraft tower defense game. So this has been a long time coming. As I said, our views are pretty low, so I'm going to be distributing this on social media this week, and I'm hoping the rest of you guys can share it as well. I'll be putting it up on YouTube, and as I said, sharing a list on sharing it on social media. And please try and get some more people in the Scratch community playing this game. We're really excited about it. We think it's a fantastic piece of coding, and not enough people see it. So without further ado, here is the new trailer for Minecraft Tower Defense. Very nice work. That was put together by Cam Hodge, our Chromeworks co-op student, who's our video specialist, and he did a great job with that. So I'm hearing that there's no sound from Thane. What do you mean? There's no sound on Discord, Thane?
Yeah, I'm trying to hear it right now. I'm still working.
I'm not quite sure what's up because you're hearing me now. Eh? So in that one video?
Yeah, in the trailer.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy. I think I know what's going on here, but I could probably try run one more time here. There's a little sound setting in my OBS studio where every time I put a new video on, it has to I have to set something up to make it audible. Let me try just one quick setting here and see if I can fix that. I think I have to flip back onto the video and do something, so just bear with me for a second here. Monitor and okay, I think that should be audible now, so let's try playing it one more time. All right, hopefully that...
Still nothing.
Still nothing, eh? Okay, I'll show you guys on Discord at the end here. I'm sorry about that. There's a few little settings here that are messed up in my OBS. Anyway, our fans on YouTube saw it anyway. So speaking of all my viewers, I got quite a few people on the stream here today, and excited to see some new faces as well. Over on YouTube, as I said, we have funny animator Jim, who's a very experienced coder who's been around for quite a while. Good morning, Jim. And if you want to jump onto Discord and say hi there, you can as well. We've got a new viewer here named Asim, and if you want to let us know where you're from, we'll give you a little shout out here. We've also got a new viewer here named Viet Cang, and I'm not sure where he's from somewhere in Asia, I would imagine. So hi there. And we have Supreme Commander, who's a longtime viewer, and I believe he's from here in Ottawa. So hi to Supreme Commander. Good morning. And meanwhile, over in the Chromeworks studio here on Discord, we have all our regulars. Abe is here. Good morning, Abe. From Ohio, right, Dave? Abe, nice to see you again, buddy. And Gamer Davies here from Ottawa, as usual. I still owe you a t-shirt, Davey. I haven't forgotten. Don't you worry. Kian the Awesome is here from Ottawa as well. Good morning, Kian. Meanwhile, over in Florida, we have our old friend Thane, Retro Gamer. Good morning, Thane.
Hello, Mr. T.
And Thane has a new Minecraft mod review coming up for us today, as you saw in the little trailer intro.
Yeah.
Did you?
And in your Minecraft tower defense game. My tower defense game that I use, I think I use like the same. Jeffrey taught me the same code.
Oh, okay.
My tower defense game.
The complex collision code. Yeah, good. So Thane is working on a tower defense game that was kind of inspired by our project, and he'll be releasing that in a couple of weeks. And he might even make a little tutorial for us. We'll have to see how he does with that, but really excited by that. I'm also joined by my co-op student, Ben, from Ottawa. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
Hi. So Ben has a few pieces of content for us today. We had him do a new Q&A segment that I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. And as usual, he's back with his trip through time. So he's moving a little forward this time, working on the PlayStation, telling us about the original PlayStation. Did you own a PlayStation, Ben?
Never. I think we had one. We never actually played one as a kid.
You had one as a kid, eh? So it was released, back in '94, so you were probably quite young when it was released. But anyway, it was fun to look back at some of those old games, especially GTA 1. I didn't even know that it was a top-down shooter game when it was first released, so seeing that clip really made me laugh. Anyway, so, okay, let's move along here, guys. If anyone else is on the chat and would like a shout out, please give me a little hello and I'll say hi. So as I teased in our little intro segment, there's a little Rickroll Maker that's really making a splash on the Scratch community. It's getting a lot of hits. And I asked our co-op student Connor to do a little look at it and do a remix and show it to our audience. So I'm going to show you that right now.
Hey guys, I'm Connor from Chromeworks, and today we'll be showcasing this Rickroll project that allows you to put your own sprite on a Rick Astley's head. Alright, so what we're going to do is go through each sprite and explain the code. So first, we just kind of have a blank here, so that's not really relevant. So for the cover, when this is clicked, go to 0, 0, hide. So this is just the cover of the project, so when you go to it on the Scratch website, you'll see this. Not really too important, doesn't really do much. The actual video is when clicked, plays the music, and also when clicked it sets the size, it switches to the first costume, and it has the forever loop, forever next costume, and it's broadcasting update X and Y of icon, and it waits 0.06 seconds. And as you can see here, we have all the costumes for all his movements. So here, so forever it is looping these costumes and sending out a broadcast. Alright, so for the icon, when it receives update X and Y of icon, it'll go to this code here. So we have two lists going. We have a list for X and Y. So I'll click these and show. So for here, you can see that there are a set amount of coordinates. I'll just show this here. So when they receive the broadcast, the list of X is going to equal the costume of Rick Astley. So every time the costume changes, it'll go to the set coordinates. So it'll start at the number 1, then when the costume changes, it'll go to the number 2, which is X equals 1 to Y equals 76. So when I play it, it'll move. But let's say I change this. You can see as you saw, it moved up. So this was 63. So all it's doing is just repeating through all these coordinates, following Rick Astley's head. So I'm going to hide these again. So what you're going to want to do to kind of make this your own, costumes, and here you can either make a new sprite or upload one of your own. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave you with my masterpiece, but if you'd like to see any more Scratch content, please check out the Chromeworks channel and enjoy.
Oh man, that was kind of cringy. So there I am, Rickrolling you all. I thought this was such a cool project. That was why I asked Connor to do it for me. There's so much potential for fun stuff. You could put Donald Trump in there, or almost anyone you wanted to, or design your own bizarre character to put into it. I just wanted to run through that process with you one more time just to show you how easy it was. So I've got the project here. It's linked in the description. Credits to LawsOfScienceChanger, who developed this project. Really cool and simple little project. I'm going to paste the link into the file description here and into the chat for YouTube and Discord here so that you guys can have a look at it. So I thought I would grab a funny little face as well. I went through Google Images and found this funny animated face of our celebrity prime minister here in Canada, Justin Trudeau, and I thought he would make a funny little Rickroll. So I downloaded him, and let's go back to the original project here. So I've got this sprite here called Icon, and I'm just going to load the animated GIF into there. I'm going to go upload costume. And no, I'm in the wrong place here. Let me just grab the right folder. There's my Trudeau. And so you can see it pops into there. The head's a little bit big, so I'm going to shrink it maybe to 60%, which looks about right. And now I want to delete the original icon. So I'll get rid of that. And because it's animated, I wanted to go through all the different costumes that it's going. So we could add a next costume here, but if you want to control the speed of it, you're probably better off to have a separate bit of code here. So I'm going to go in green flag, clicked, forever, next costume under our looks commands here. And we can add a delay here, and you can adjust this depending on how fast you want the animation to go. I'm going to go 0.2 maybe. Oh, Jim is suggesting we try and match the skin tone a little bit by changing the color effect. Let's try that out here. I don't know what you would suggest, Jim. Let's go. I'm just going to change the color effect by maybe one at a time here, and gonna go a little green. Whoa. So I'm not sure what number I should be going for here. And just darker green. Wow, this takes a bit of experimentation. I'm not sure where red is gonna be here. Oh man, this is not working, dude. So it takes a bit of experimentation, obviously. I'm gonna try set color effect to maybe 200 and see what that looks like. Jim, if you can find a proper color here, just in a number that we can enter, that would be handy, because I don't know what number is going to work here. That has a little bit of red in it. I think it's somewhere around the 200 range, though. Yeah, so something a little darker than that, or maybe the brightness effect. Eh? Let's try set the brightness effect to -10. See if we can match that color up a little bit. Hey, that's looking a little better, maybe. All right, so let me try running the animation here just on the face. Yeah, I wish there was a little more red in there. Jim's suggesting 185 for the color effect. Let's try that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, actually. Thanks, Jim. And with the darker color effect there, that's looking pretty good. All right, let's run this and see what it looks like. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. All right, well, here's to our celebrity Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and he just rickrolled you guys. So I'd love to see what you guys come up with. If anyone else comes up with a funny rickroll, please share it with me. Oh, it looks like Thane has already done one. Let's see if we can call it up right now. I'm a little scared, but let's do it. Here is Thane's rickroll.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Wreck-It Ralph doing the Rickroll, so I decided to add Ralph and Rickroll together.
Yeah.
Now it's a Ralph.
It's a Ralph roll, eh?
It's a Ralph Rickroll.
A Ralph Rickroll.
Both of them.
Yeah. So I would suggest that you maybe cut out Ralph's head before you do that too. Abe has one. Let's see what Abe has come up with here. I'm just taking you guys' word for it. There's nothing hugely inappropriate showing up here. Oh, this one's looking good. That's good. Abe, did you just draw that right now? Yeah, okay, well, Abe just drew that one for us. That's nice. So if you have a funny Rickroll you want to share with our audience, I'll show some more of them next week. Just just share the file and send me the link. You can email me at info@chromeworks.ca, and I'll be happy to show any of them that you guys want to. So I'm happy to do that. All right, that's a really funny little project. I was really happy to show that to you guys. We got some more funny stuff. If anyone has any suggestions of projects like this that kids can work on,
Mr. T, LawsOfScienceChanger just loved my remix.
He just loved it. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, you should tell him, write a comment and tell him that that we mentioned him on our live stream. I really and. What is this? Has Jim sent one to us now? Let's have a look at that. And Kian has one as well. Whoop. Oh, what is this that Jim just sent me? This isn't... So this is one of Jim's latest projects, eh? Sorry, I thought that this was a Rickroll thing. Check the remixes. Oh, so this is a suggestion of a project that guys can remix. Okay, I'm going to have a look at this. People can change the character. I'm going to maybe have a look at this next week, Jim, and we'll see if we can get some kids working on these. I think Kian has a Rickroll remix to show us, so let me call that up right now. Ah, yes. Good old Donald Trump. I would probably go a little bigger on his head, though. It should be kind of cartoonishly big to be an appropriate Donald Trump. Let me try 120 size on that. It's maybe a little better. Seems like it's not quite aligned with the head properly, too, eh? I might go into the costumes and just move the head down a little bit until it matches better. There we go. I think we're looking better now. Let's give it another look. All right. Nice work, Ian. All right. So, we got more content for you. I think I'm going to call it quits on the Rickrolls. Jim is suggesting maybe something else to do is make a sprite for the microphone so it goes in front of the head. That's not a bad idea. So there are definitely ways we could improve on this project, but anyway, we'll look at that, and we'll also look at Jim's other project for you guys to remix next week as well. So I'll try to make a note of that. All right, we got some more content for you. So as I mentioned, Ben has been busy working on a couple of different projects for us. I asked him this week to have I had an actual question asked to me by a YouTube viewer who wanted to know why his Scratch files weren't showing up. He'd shared something and no one could find it. And so I sent Ben off to answer this question. I think this is going to be a new segment for us. It's called Ask Away. So let me show that to you right now.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode of Ask Away, a new segment where we answer Scratch questions from you guys. So if you have any questions, make sure to email us at info@chromeworks.ca. So today's question is from BlackBear200, who asked, how can I see my projects that I've made if I search them up? What he's talking about is when you share a project, you can't actually search it up in Scratch. Like here, I share my new Smash Bros. Game, which you should check out when it comes out, but it won't come up when I search for it. Now, the answer to this question is pretty annoying. Since Scratch uses its own engine, it takes a little time for the server to index it. So in other words, Scratch is just being lazy and taking a while to upload your project. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something, and I hope I answered your question. If anyone else has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.
All right, well, thanks, Ben. So, yeah, it takes a few days, as long as a week, I hear on the wiki for things to update. So I've often had a lot of trouble finding my own projects on the Scratch server. Sometimes it helps if you search up a username. Usernames are easier to find. And when you get to someone's username, you can usually find their projects quite easily. So, for example, I've got Kian's project up here, and if I go back to the project page for his project, there will be a link right underneath the name here that will take you to that student's projects, or to that Scratch creator's projects. So, if you're looking for projects and you know the name of the creator, it's usually pretty easy to find them there. And I think that those don't have to be indexed either. So so you'll be able to find them pretty much right away as soon as they're shared. Okay, so I set Connor loose for this week on one more project, which is we've been doing a series of turbo tutorials looking at the website turbowarp.org, which has all kinds of cool Scratch add-ons. This is a simple little one, but I think really, really useful, especially while you're developing projects. It's a pause button, so I'm going to show you that right now.
Hey guys, I'm Connor from Chromeworks, and on today's episode of Turbo Tutorials, we're going to be looking at the pause button. So as always, you're going to want to go to add-ons, and here you're going to want to find the pause button, which is just right here. You do this or search it, make sure it's on, go back and see inside, and here what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an example and show you how it works. Okay, so what I have here is when the green flag is clicked, it's going to go to the left side of the screen here, which is this coordinate, and then it's going to glide to the right side of the screen. So I'm going to play it. It's just going to go to the right side. And what I'm going to do is pause it, and it'll pause. You can unpause and it'll resume. It's quite a simple add-on, but I think it's a very convenient add-on instead of just having a start and stop button. So you can pause, maybe you want to take a break, something along those lines. It's just nice to have a pause button. And that's it for this tutorial. If you want more Scratch content, please check out the Chromeworks YouTube channel. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Connor. Yeah, just a short and sweet little tutorial. So there's lots more on that Turbo Warp website for you to check out. There's a couple of other ways that you can extend Scratch and make it do new tricks as well. And so we'll be coming back to you with some more of that in the future as well. So as I mentioned, Ben has been doing a history of gaming consoles, and he's been doing a really bang up job producing little documentary videos about some of the famous consoles from times past. So without further ado, I'm going to show you the next segment of Ben's time traveler sequence. Here we go.
How's it going, guys? This is episode 5 of Time Travelers, where we jump through time, taking a look at big consoles and the games that came out with them. Today, we don't actually have to go back that far, as the console that I teased in my last episode was only introduced back in 1995 in North America. That being the first ever PlayStation by Sony. But before we get into the episode, it's a tradition that I show you a song that came out during that time period. And here's a song that I finally recognize.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Don't worry, Ben. I just have to wait one more episode until I can play an Eminem song. Anyway, let's get on with this week's episode.
Morning, itty bitty. Just what I need. Another little bald guy.
Pac-Man's moving up to a whole new world. Pac-Man World 20th Anniversary in 3D. The star's big new adventure.
So, as I said before, this was the first ever PlayStation in a long list of PlayStations to come. Like the newest entry, the PS5, that's all the rage right now. So you can see how it has progressed since then. But the most recognizable thing that has stayed the same is the DualShock controllers. As you can see, the PS1's controller looks very similar to the PS4's controller. Not the PS5's, however. That looks like it's come from outer space. But as you can see, this console has a very familiar looking shape and design to what we see nowadays. And I think it would fit in with consoles nowadays, if it didn't have to be plugged in the whole time, and it wasn't this boring, old looking gray. The OG PlayStation also had its games stored on CDs, which is definitely a step up from the usual cartridge. Now for the games. It has a lot of familiar titles that you probably have heard of. Just a little downgraded from what you might think. Like the first ever Grand Theft Auto, Final Fantasy, and believe me, there are a lot of them. Metal Gear Solid, and a bunch of FIFA games, like FIFA 2000.
Into the top corner, the keeper unable to stop it.
In fact, there are 7,918 games released over the PS1's lifespan. Okay guys, so that about wraps it up for the OG PlayStation. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next time, we're covering the arch enemy of the PlayStation. The light, the dark, yin and yang, PlayStation and Xbox. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time.
All right, so tune in next week to find out about the original Xbox, the dreaded competitor to the PlayStation. Excited to see that, Ben. Okay, one more segment for you this week. I also want to say hi to somebody else who checked in with us, Oxintoma32Dev. Tell us where you're from, and I always like to know about our new viewers on the broadcast. Okay, so without further ado, here we are with Thane's Minecraft mod review of the week. This is a particularly fun one, so let's get to that right now.
Have you ever wished that you can manipulate animals and even have their powers? Well, now you can. Hi everyone, it's it's Thane from the Crowworks Club, back with another Minecraft mod review. Today we'll be reviewing the morphing mod review, the Morph Mod. So as you can see, I'm a pig. But how do you get these morphs? Here, let me show you. I actually go ahead and turn back first. So here's what you do. So you click, you know the brackets, right? So just click one of them, and then the left, the one on the right takes you up, and the one on the left takes you down. So I'm gonna turn it back into my normal self. Then just hit enter, and you'll be back. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead now and show you how to get this. So let me grab a sword. So sword, and let's see, let's do a nice strong sword. So let's do the ruby sword. Now here's a chest from another mod. Both of these items are from another mod. Remember, this, I'm on CrazyCraft 4. Well, this isn't actually CrazyCraft 4, it's CrazyCraft 3, because this one has the Morph Mod. And yeah, and that's also why I am not in my regular skin. I'm in a steam form. So as you can see, the items can float around in this crystal chest, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up a spawn creeper, and then no, who cares about you? I'll place down a creeper, and then we'll kill him. Alright, now that I killed the creeper, now I just have to press the left, and there you are, creeper. And I got it because I killed him. So basically you just gotta kill them. And I don't think you can break blocks with this guy. Oh, I can break blocks. Alright, so let me go ahead and switch back into my normal form, and then I'll show you some examples with the other 8 I have here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and grab a Royal Guardian sword, because that does 750 damage and it's way better. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, and I'll put this back in the chest. This, and these mobs are from another mod, except of course for the ocelot. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and spawn these mobs. So I'll start with whatever this is. What the? I can see through this thing. I got his mole. So if I go ahead and go to tab, or no, sorry, this, I can now turn into an invisible creature. Oh, that's awesome! Look at this. I can see what's underneath me. this mod. Look. So awesome, bro. Let me go ahead and change back into my normal form. And I'm going to go ahead and yeah, kill the rest of these mobs, and I'll tell you when I kill them all. Now lucky block again. / game mode 0, guys, and I got pumpkins. Guys, I am the Pumpkin King. The pumpkin shall praise me. I am the Pumpkin King. Oh, if you guys like this video, again, please make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time with another great.
All right, thanks for that, Thane. Yeah, that's a fun little mod.
Yeah, I was actually trying to do showing the mobs, but it took too long. Then the video would be too long, so I just decided to cut that out.
All right, Thane is working hard at keeping his videos shorter. I've been telling him that they're a little bit too loud. So if you want, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I got pumpkins out of the lucky block.
Okay.
And I got somebody's me.
Anyway, if you want to see more of Thane's videos, you can go to his YouTube channel, Crazy Kirby Boy, and he specializes in stuffy videos. He's got a couple of different series of stuffy videos, and he's always producing fun stuff with his stuffed animals. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. That's about all the content we have for you this week, guys. So as usual, it was a lot of fun. I really loved doing those Rickrolls with you guys. And I'd love to see you again next time. It looks like I'm out of focus here. I'm not sure what's happening with my camera. Whoa. All right. Anyway, so I will see you guys next week. We'll be back next week with part 5 of our Minecraft tower defense tutorial. Part 4 is being released as we speak in the next 3 minutes on this channel, Chromeworks Technology. And Funny Animator Jim said thanks for the stream. See you next time. Same to you, Jim. And we'll be back with part 5 next week. We'll be adding Endermen who can build ladders to the game. So that's going to be exciting. And then probably in the next part, I'm still not sure how it's going to pan out, but I think we got 2 more parts coming. Then we've got the Ender Dragon coming up. So very excited to show you that. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I will see you